Hello, this is Gio. Hey, look what we have here. We have a GE General Electric AM/FM alarm clock with cassette. And so looking on the bottom, it is model number 7-4956B. And I believe this particular one was manufactured in 1991. So I did recently pick this up at Goodwill and I tested it all out and everything works fine except for one thing. And I'll show you what that is. Okay, so we did plug it in and you can see the light, the time display blinking right there. And again, everything works here except for one thing, and the issue is in the tape cassette player. And so we got the record, play, rewind, fast forward, stop, eject, pause. I do have a tape right here to test it out on. Hit eject. Yes, the door opens up. We'll go ahead and put in the tape, shut it, and we'll hit play. And sure enough, it does play. However, when you stop it and hit fast forward, nothing happens. Rewind, nothing happens. And so that's the issue with this cassette player. And so we're going to open this thing up and see if we can actually fix this today. Okay, so before we open this up, we do need to remove a couple of knobs. So the volume little knob here, we need to kind of jimmy this thing out a little bit just with this flathead screwdriver. And it just comes out just like this. Put that aside. And then on the side here, the radio tuner knob right here should just pop out if I can get it out here. Maybe we'll need a little screwdriver also. Gently get this thing out of here. And there we go. Pop that out. It does have a little tiny little washer here. So we got that out. And then on back, if you flip it over, let's see, I think we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 screws. So we have 8 screws to remove Phillips head. I believe the fronts 3 are a little shorter. The back 4 are longer, so just keep track of which screws belong to which. So we'll go ahead and remove all these screws. And then just flip it over, and then carefully, kind of on the side here, kind of pry open the top. And it should come out. Oh, let's hit the, this door I think needs to open up, and there we go. It just pops right out. And there's the inside of the lid, and there's the inside, and it is a mess. Look at all that dust. Look at this stuff. Oh my gosh. Remove that. Look at that dust accumulation. So I think that's the first thing we have to do is just, you know, take some can of air and just de-dust this thing a bit. Oh. So the can of air kind of helped out a lot. The speaker still has a lot of dust and debris on it, as you can see right here. That can't really be blown away. It's pretty well stuck on there. So I'm just going to take kind of a soft toothbrush, see if I could just scrape some of this dust away here, just very gently. Okay, so I got it improved. I could probably use some cleaner, maybe some isopropyl alcohol to get some of the residuals, but I really don't want to damage the paper speaker itself. So I'll just leave it like that. It's not a high quality speaker, so this should improve the sound. Okay, we also have these little touch pads here, which these little rubber buttons, they all work, but I do notice I have to push pretty firmly down. I do want to clean this little surface as well. But if you turn it around, you see these little metal circles here. Well, these come in contact with these little contacts here. So as you push down on this little metal circle contacts both of these and basically makes the connections. And these are all kind of dirty. So I'm going to take some isopropyl alcohol, do a little Q-tip here, and just sort of clean these off. And cleaning these contacts should help the functionality of these buttons quite a bit. So you also have these little switches here. You can just remove these little caps right here. I think I'll clean these up as well. And that exposes these little switches right here, kind of 3-4-way switches actually. I think I'll put a little contact cleaner in each one of these and make sure they will function properly. And just kind of agitate them like that. And this one, I'm not sure if it pops up. Let's see, I'm not sure if this slide, but I think I'm going to clean up this whole area. This has a fair amount of gunk on it. So we'll clean this up. Apply some contact cleaner to this little switch as well, and also there's a side switch for AM FM on the side here. We'll add some contact cleaner there before we actually fix the cassette. Okay, so now that we have things cleaned up a little bit more, let's go ahead and focus on the cassette player. I did go ahead and plug it back in, and we'll go ahead and hit play again. And sure enough, it will play forward, stop, but nothing happens with fast forward, nothing happens with rewind. So I don't really see any significant issue. Well, the motor does work, but just the spindles don't spin. So I think the issue is underneath, and there are 1, 2, 3 screws we have to remove. So we'll go ahead and unplug this thing and remove these screws to see what we see on the other side. Now this screw also holds down a little red wire, so just make note of that. When you put the screw back in, make sure that that's still connected to that wire. So with the screws removed, it should just come out with, let's see, there we go. You can see it's loose, but there are a number of wires kind of in the way. You may have to do some maneuvering. So there's this one right here. Let's see, that's in the way. And then there is, looks like a couple up here. Hopefully we won't have to desolder anything to get underneath here. Let's see if I can maneuver these things. Okay, so it does look like we have to desolder something. It's either going to be this wire here or these two wires here. I think the motor, the black and red to the motor, is probably the easiest. So we have black would be the negative it shows, and the red is the positive, and so the motor is labeled there. So let's go ahead and desolder these things. Okay, so with those two wires desoldered, we should be able to flip this whole thing up and over, leaving that wire intact. There you go, and we'll go ahead and flip it over. And sure enough, I think I found the problem. You get the main belt here from the motor, but over here, which controls the rewind and fast forward, the belt is missing. I can't seem to find it in here. any residual belt, so I'm not quite sure where it went to. I need to probably, this is the record play switch here. I'll probably put some cleaner in that as well, but we'll need to take this off. I may replace this one too, see if we have replacement belts for both of them, if I could find a size, and we'll replace those and see if we get this thing working properly. Okay, so I did find a couple of belt replacements. I have a selection here to choose from. I did replace this one, although it wasn't broken. It was pretty old, so I did replace it. And then I found a proper size for this lower one. I did find the original belt. It was actually stuck under this this plate here. It was pretty much really gunking up the works in there. I had to use a lot of isopropyl alcohol and Q-tips to get it out. It was kind of a messy job. So definitely, if you're replacing these belts, try to clean up as much residue as you can, because when these belts go, they can gum things up pretty badly. And of course, I did put some cleaner on the switch here just to make sure it'll work properly. And so just now we just have to replace it back, resolder the motor, and see if this thing will work. Basically, you're trying to line up these holes, 3 holes that you unscrewed, until it stops wiggling. Make sure these wires are out of the way here. And try to stick these back into the holes. Okay, so before I put the lid back on, I went ahead and plugged it back in just to test out to make sure everything works. Now go ahead and hit play. And sure enough, it plays just fine. Stop. Let's do fast forward. Wonderful, look at that work. Now reverse should probably stop without a tape in there, but let's try it. It at least spins, and this time this spindle spins, so that's what we're looking for. And indeed, so let's go ahead and put everything back together. The switch is here. And the cover, the little rubber cover here, and then put back on the lid and test her out. So I did clean up the cover a little bit to make it look nicer. Go ahead and carefully place this in place here. Don't forget that the lid here has to be open to shut it completely. Got it there. We'll shut this now. Flip it over. Replace the screws. And then don't forget the little tuner knob with the washer. Here's the washer. That in there. And the volume knob here, or dial. There you go. Plug it in. Okay, it's working. Let's just try the radio.
The event done.
The on-off button works a lot better since I cleaned those contacts. Here, let's go ahead and try AM.
Get you in a long down distance like they were doing with Baker Mayfield in the last.
All right, that works. Okay, and so now for a cassette, testing the fast forward. Hold on, let's see. So fast forward. Sure enough, it is working, and now rewind. And there you go. So I think we fixed our problem for this AM/FM cassette alarm clock. Well, I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen, and even consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.
A four-way stop, you're going one way, and the car to your left is running.